player tries to defend this wide a space, they can really get caught with their pants down if a player just kind of pushes up the middle lane. It looks like Yosh going to take that expansion in the meantime. Skew, sorry for that pause right there. Camtasia picks up a lot of sound in the background. I'm just going to actually let it go in the future. Skew going for this command center right here. He's just going to build it and float it out. In the meantime, defend his choke with this tank and these 4 Marines using that barracks to spot. And it looks like a vulture out in the meantime for Yosh. And Yosh, basically, I think kind of the logic he's using here, looks like he's going to go for, he's producing a tank, but probably going to go for the speed upgrade. Researching mines right now. Let's see if the, yeah, looks like the vulture's already speed upgraded. Basically, what he can do is he can push up and see if Skew's going to be coming at him all that quickly, and if he is, he can basically kind of produce forces accordingly and get in position to kind of defend against it. Skew, in the meantime, being a little more defensive, he's just gonna make sure he secures his secondary, which is gonna put I think Yosh a little bit ahead. As you can see, he's plopping it right down, so he's gonna be able to basically start production out of this a few fractions of a second ahead. That's not gonna make all that big a difference. And the Vulture's doing a little bit of scouting. Looks like Skew, in the meantime, making sure that Yosh didn't get super creative and go for an early expand out of position. And this barracks floating up. I like this positioning of this floating up barracks. As you can see, it's going to be able to spot this command center, and the production coming out of this command center fairly quickly and easily. And also, you can kind of bring it back into this area. And also, it kind of gives a visual on this kind of drop area for Yosh, and siege tech up for Skew instead of spider mines. And he's going to send this SCV in just to make sure that expansion's up. Mines in the middle of the field and the down in the meantime, and Skew going to bring these vultures around to both expansions, basically just to see what's happening there. Producing a very Goliath. He has his armory down and starting to produce dropships, going for an academy, and it looks like the academy's already up for Skew. He's getting that conspat down, getting his second factory up. and opted for a few more tanks, and with that siege tech, that's very safe. As you can see, both players kind of going for more defense right there, getting the scouting out. Skew doing a little bit of a comsat there, comsatting at the various locations. He's going to see these mines going down from these vultures. So basically, what Skew is got the comsat off a little bit earlier. Actually, a decent amount earlier, it looks like, than Yosh did. And Yosh, in the meantime, planning mines at these expansions just so we can see when Yosh pushes out. And these mines you can see on the minimap in the middle are going to be really helpful for Yosh, because he's basically going to be able to tell when forces are incoming. Another SCV coming to the south, just to make sure that again that Yosh didn't get too creative and go to the south there. And two more factories going up for Skew, and it looks like only a third factory going up for Yosh. So he's going to be have a little bit of a production advantage. I'm surprised he's not going for more dropships. And it looks like yeah, as you can see, Yosh kind of mined this area up, which is very clever. Simply because this is, the majority of your drops are going to come from that general area. Another SCV going up into that upper area, and Yosh he saw that SCV with that spider mine, just immediately pushed those vultures in and killed it. And here comes Skew. Skew looks like he's actually going to push forward, so this SCV is probably going to come up here to actually maybe take that expansion. I expect dropships probably being produced, as you can see, in the process. So Skew being a little bit aggressive here. Yosh, in the meantime, has a lot of vultures out in the field. He's kind of pushing out in general. Skew putting those Marines out, just going to try to sweep from mines, basically getting rid of his Marines. One, to open up side, but also to kind of sweep the area for mines. He missed those first 2 mines, which isn't going to be that big a cost. Going to lose the second Marine without getting all that much scouting done. But I think Skew in a minute, basically, he's going to, now that he has a dropship up, he can kind of defend this northern expansion a little bit. And it looks like that SCV was spotted on the spider mine, but I think he managed to go hide it. Yeah, it looks like he hit it before Skew really got a good visual about where the SCV went. But as soon as these dropships up, Skew can start pushing out, maybe do a couple distraction attacks on Yosh, so he can get these expansions up. Looks like he's kind of staking out this northern area, bringing up the second SCV to this location. I'd be very surprised if he took this expansion right here. It might suggest that he's kind of going for more a vulture type build. Let's see if a fourth, still, another factory up, but only 2 machine shops up, so more vultures probably on the way for Skew. And again, scouting that lower area just to make sure. And it looks like an out-of-position command center, so he's probably going to float this out as soon as he has basically enough dropships to kind of try to defend that northern area, and once he's a little more confident. And Yosh, in the meantime, floating a couple of basically moving a little of these vultures out. And it looks like Yosh, in the meantime, I think he realizes with the comsats, I think he might have comsatted that command center out. I couldn't really tell what that last comsat went off. He's going to bring this SCV up in preparation for bull spotting, and now, as you can see, 2 dropships out for Yosh pushing up, and he's really going. Wow, he's pushing up for an attack, and to drop a couple of these units behind, and basically use these dropships to spot for the single tank. A lot of Goliaths there. He might have kind of gone dropship hunting there, and this tank is going to get taken out with these vultures, but the vultures getting caught a little out of position by the Goliaths, and that was very good micromanagement by Skew, basically plopping those Goliaths right in between the range of the siege and those vultures to both take the vultures out and push up. And Skew being very aggressive here, going to push up on the secondary. Let's see. This is going to be a little bit of a hard attack, as you can see. Tanks being produced. Basically, and let's see how many SCVs he can take out in the meantime. Tanks setting up in siege prediction in the background. A couple SCVs being taken out here as they're coming off Yosh's line. Yosh instead pulling those SCVs back, and he's just going to allow his reinforcements to come back, kind of attack this area. Those tanks now in siege position, but looks like, yeah, this is going to be easily fended off by Yosh. A little bit of damage on this expansion, but not really a significant amount, and yeah, that's going to be fended off. But what Skew has done is he's bought himself time to get this command center out and float it to this northern position. It looks like he comsetted that mine and is going to take it out with that SCV. It's very clever because SCVs aren't generally attacked or basically aren't attacked by mines. They can only be hit by the splash damage of another unit. Engineering bay, and as you can see, Yosh being a little protective about the drop. He's got these 2 turrets up in this position, a lot of mines in this kind of this neutral zone. He does not want to get dropped on. Let's check if there's upgrades, and it looks like Skew getting caught a little out of position. That's single weapon upgrade is up for Yosh and not up for Skew, so there's a slight advantage in his favor there, but he just doesn't have a lot of dropships up. Let's see if he's producing them in the meantime. Looks like he is trying to get 2 dropships up here in just a second, and in the meantime he's been committed to kind of defending. Let's see if he realizes that these expansions are going up, starts pushing out, and Skew going for 2 expansions to the north, and that's very interesting, going for losing a little bit of production here, but that's not going to cost him as much because he's been so aggressive and did manage to take out a lot of forces there of Yosh. As you can see, he's just going to rally point some of these things here, and it looks like Yosh is going to be able to spot this out. He's got that SCV coming out, so I would expect in short order that Yosh would try to take this northern expansion. More factories going down for Skew. Skew realizing he's got this expansion up. Generally, the rule for factories to expansions is about 2 factories per expansion. You can kind of cheat with 1 extra if you're only producing vultures out of it. And as you can see, a dropship up, only a single dropship up though for Yosh, where it looks like I think there were still these 4 dropships and a lot of units being produced by Skew. So Skew going to load these up, and he's going to basically kind of create, just kind of hover them kind of in this neutral position. One, looks like he brought some of these Goliaths to the south to make sure that Yosh couldn't expand, and basically he's going to float them, 1 for defense, but 2, basically entirely dedicate them to defense, being kind of mobile and active. Skew in the meantime going to try to push up and attack to the north. Yosh realizing that's coming, kind of sensing it, I think. I'm not sure if he got a good comsat off. More SCVs coming out to expand from this new expansion, and here's my command center again in the way. But this this floating engineering bay coming from the north, got to spot all these forces. So Yosh trying to pull back, seeing that command center. He doesn't want to reveal the entire size of his army, and going to try to do a drop here. Looks like with that SCV he had in the back, put a couple turrets down. That's not really all that effective. I mean, Skew could just drop some units on the backside and bring them up. That would delay him a little bit, but really with just 2 dropships, that's not a large enough dedication to warrant putting these turrets up, in my opinion. A single turret going up for Skew at that location. As you can see, again, trying to build these turrets to protect against this kind of artifact location. Let's see if any more expansion. No, still just the 4 factories and no expansion up. Skew realizing, Yosh realizing at this point he's a little bit down economically, actually significantly down economically with these 2 expansions up, so trying to get this lower area pushed up. In the meantime, a lot of factories down for for Skew. So Skew's just going to start producing a ton of forces. He still has these 4 dropships. I'm surprised he's not investing in more dropships. And really, what Yosh needs to do at this point is he needs to just push up and maybe instead of securing this expansion, maybe get a little bit aggressive on Skew, maybe try to push something up. But it doesn't look like Skew's going to give him that opportunity. He's going to start pushing up with these Goliaths. He's going to catch these 2 dropships out of position. That was a very clever maneuver by Yosh right there, dropping that tank basically to save the dropship. And as you can see, basically Skew in the meantime taking kind of this middle position. He's going to crash down, and these mines really ain't going to bother him too much with all these Goliaths and tanks. And basically, he's going to push down, and this forces